Good morning. Welcome, welcome. In my community, my congregation, we have a saying, which is we're going to start with some singing and we're going to end with singing. And in the middle, what we're going to do mostly is some singing. And so I'm going to invite you all to raise your voices in song this morning. My name is Matt, and I come from Boston, but I travel around as an itinerant revivalist. And while our Unitarian ancestors were not necessarily fans of revivals, I'm going to try and bring a little bit of that spirit to you this morning. And one thing that made camp meetings, what made revivals so fun, is that long before there were pop songs, they would add a chorus to some of their hymns. And so we're going to take that traditional way of doing things. And I'm going to teach you a new chorus to this hymn, Wake Now My Senses, one of my favorites. Your part goes like this. You ready? Oh, oh. Can we try that? Here we go. Oh, oh. One more. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. For all of our singing today, I invite you to do it in whatever way your spirit needs. If the words elude you and you want to just hum along, that's okay. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to sit in silence and just soak in the sound of the room, that's okay. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to rock out like you are alone in the car with the radio, this is your time to do it, and we've got space up front for dancing. Maybe some of the younger folks up front can lead the dancing. Here we go. Wake now my senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us. And the chorus, oh, 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 again, oh, oh, wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry, voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Here we go. Oh, 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 again. Oh, wake now my vision, wake now my vision, give ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here, mingle my calling, all who will share, work toward a planet transformed by, all right, like you mean it, here we go. Oh, again, can we get some more harmony? Last time. All sound good.
Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Rochester, where our mission is that through spiritual connection in community, we listen deeply to others and ourselves, we open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. My name is Reverend AJ. I use he and him pronouns, and I'm one of the ministers that serves this congregation. But this morning we are delighted to be joined by Matt Meyer as our worship leader, our guest worship leader. Matt is a lifelong UU and an itinerant troubadour and worship and music leader, and he's also the director of operations for the Sanctuary Boston, one of our congregations in Boston, a very special one. And also leading worship is Reverend Sherry, Reverend Sherry, Chris. One of us is going to do it. Chris, Pablo, our AV team, and all of you is the point I was trying to drive at, that it takes all of you, all of us gathered together in community to make worship happen, to make community happen. If you are new or new-ish, if this is one of your first times here, welcome. Please stop by the welcome desk to get to know us better, and we can help you get connected here. And one of the things you'll want to know about is that between services, we do something called Connections. We have small group programs, and there's one just for newcomers, for inquirers. Not just for newcomers, anyone can attend, but it's designed for newcomers. So please come early next time. If you are here this morning because you are going through a hard time, or you are worried about somebody else who is, please reach out and connect. We have a lay pastoral care associate team who can connect with you anytime during the week. But here on Sunday mornings, we have Susie in the back wearing a beige and rainbow stole. You can connect with her during the service if needed, or afterwards. We are here to help and to be an accompaniment to you. A couple things I want to note about this morning. We are now in November. You may have noticed election day is coming up, so early voting is very helpful. Please do that before 5 p.m. The closest voting location for Monroe County is it's on Westfall Road, Brighton Winter Farm Market in Brighton on Westfall Road. So vote early today. There's no early voting on Monday, and then of course Election Day on Tuesday. Also, we had daylight savings change, and so it was a little more bright this morning. Maybe some of you who were here early for Connection and intending to be here at the 11:30 service, and it'll be darker this evening. And we enter in November, December into our darkness season here at First Unitarian and at the other local churches as well. We share the same thematic calendar and thematic themes. Today we begin exploring the theme of risk. And in that vein, we have a slightly risky fundraiser that we've announced. I want to make sure you're aware of. Risky because, one, we're going to do an event if we raise our fundraising goal. So that's the first risk. We were looking to raise $6,000, and if we do that, then Reverend Sherry and I are going to be eating very hot and spicy wings while answering questions from you all, increasingly spicy wings. If this sounds like a YouTube show you're familiar with, you're on the right track. If you're not familiar, it's a very entertaining and perhaps ill-advised thing for the two of us to be doing. But it's all in service for a good cause, our operating budget, our ministry here at First Unitarian. So check the newsletter, check our social media for how to submit your questions that we will ask each other as we eat increasingly spicy hot wings and make your generous donation. With those announcements taken care of, I see a question from the audience. No. The show is called Hot Ones. So we're doing a Hot Wings style interview piece for that. But with that taken care of, I will invite you all to center yourselves for our worship together, however that is helpful for you, whether that's taking a deep breath and planting your feet on the ground, or making sure you get some wiggles out into your arms and your feet and your energy. As we acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door, and part of the Haudenosaunee people on whose ancestral and contemporary lands First Unitarian now stands. I'm going to invite up Nicole to light our chalice to begin our worship, our symbol of our faith. And I'm going to invite you, all of you, to help us with the unison words to light our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
Oh no, we do another song. Oh yeah, we have another song. I was in the wrong place. We're going to sing Bright Morning Star, Horizon. This song is in the gray hymnal, but we're going to try it with different words and also with a different melody. We're doing some new things today. You know, we Unitarian Universalists are descended from the Puritans on our Unitarian side. And once upon a time, there was a great controversy that stormed into our congregations, a controversy that tore our communities apart, that separated families against each other and had people storming out of the pews. It was the question of whether we should allow hymns in church. And before the heresy of hymns invaded our congregations, we only sang the Psalms, and we only sang them in call and response. So today, in honoring that tradition and heritage, we're going to do a lot of call and response singing together, although we're going to do it with some theology and, goodness knows, with some rhythm that would have our Puritan ancestors rolling over in their graves. This song is off of my new album. My congregation's band just released an album, and this song was my contribution to it. And I'm going to invite you to sing along. It goes like this. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Can we try that? Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. That sounds pretty good. Please rise in body or spirit and sing it like you mean it this time. Here we go. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Rise up from morning slumber. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. Rise up and hear your calling. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. Bright morning star with some more rhythm. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Oh, sing out loud to heaven. No, sing out loud to heaven. No, sing out loud to heaven. No, sing out loud to heaven. Day is a breaking in my soul. We'll build this faith together. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking. Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking slowly in 11-part harmony. Day is a breaking in my soul. Take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale.
Hi, my name is Chris Dorso. I use he, him pronouns, and do not adjust your sets. I've got to wear hair 3 days this week for various Halloween things. I kind of like it. So here we are. So I've mentioned here in the past that my favorite place in the world to be is on the floor at a rock and roll show. And, right? There's no better. Much like you all just were. And so a couple of years ago, one of my favorite bands of all time, Firehouse, they're a late 80s, early 90s hair metal band. They booked a gig at Del Lago. So I bought 2 tickets, and I strong-armed my friend Tracy into coming with me. And we went to the show. Now, Tracy, who is not here this morning because it's a Bills home game, Tracy and I have been friends for 30 years. We know things about each other the way that only college friends can know things about each other. And Tracy's also a high school math teacher. So Tracy does not suffer fools gladly. And that is absolutely one of my favorite things about Tracy. So when you go to a rock show, typically the crowd is overwhelmingly male, it is overwhelmingly white, and it is overwhelmingly middle-aged. that is a Venn diagram of folks that typically are more likely to have problems with folks like me. That said, when I go to a rock show, I go to a rock show. And I've got my band shirt, and I've got my leather skirt, and I've got my rock boots, because even at 5'11", those extra height is very important when you're on the floor. And so I spent too long pretending that this was not me. I'm not doing that anymore. And so that said, even as a clocky trans person in 2025, I am very intimately aware of my surroundings. I am intimately aware of who is around me, where I am. I'm like a flight attendant, know where my exits are at all times. But when I am on the floor at a rock show, I am very much in a zone. And I am where I need to be at that particular point in time, and I am focused on what is about to happen in my world. And so before the show, Tracy and I were just chatting on the floor, and I noticed that at one point she sort of shifted the way she was standing as we were talking, and she kind of glared over my shoulder. Did one of these. And so I said, what just happened? What's going on? And Tracy said, a couple of dudes over there pointing and making faces at you, and that is not going to happen on my watch. And that, friends, is why we come to church, because that is not going to happen on our watch. We here... Can I tell you, how incredible this is? We exist to be here for each other, to support each other, to have each other's back, because we are all connected, and we cannot do this without having each other together, and that is why I'm very, very glad you are all here. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing your story with us. I'd like to invite our children to come forward and join us if you're here in the front row, feel free to sit there if you'd like to create a little more space. Or if you're coming forward and you'd be more comfortable, you can take a seat if you'd like. We're going to join my friend Matt for a story.
Well, today's service is about imagining the world we want to live in and how we're not quite there yet. And by working together, we can make the world a better place. We can have more justice, more equity. We can find more compassion. We can stand up to bullies. And so I have just the story for you all. Now, Desmond the mouse lived in the most beautiful meadow in all the land. Every morning, Desmond would wake with the sunrise and spend the whole day playing in the meadow. And every night, Desmond would go to sleep right in the middle of the meadow under the beautiful starry sky above. One night, though, Desmond woke to find that it was still dark out. So he tried to roll over, he tried to get more comfortable, he tried to go back to sleep, but something was not right. He could barely move. And his tail was throbbing with pain. Reaching behind him, he felt that there was it felt like some sort of huge boulder had somehow fallen just on his tail in the middle of the meadow. He tried pushing on this boulder with all of his strength. And when that didn't work, he tried tugging on his tail to get loose, tugging with all of his might, and he tried pushing and tugging and pushing over and over again, till finally he was exhausted and out of breath and had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. It was a tall giraffe. So he called out, "Oh, giraffe, it seems that some boulder has fallen just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could use your powerful legs to push it, even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." Well, the giraffe laughed at Desmond the way giraffes do. "You silly mouse," he said. "That's no boulder that has fallen on your tail in the middle of the meadow. That is an elephant that's fallen asleep on your tail in the middle of the meadow." Well, Desmond thought about that and thought, maybe that's good news. in that case, could you just gently wake the elephant and ask him to roll over even just a couple inches in the other direction, and I could get free? I don't know about that, said the giraffe. Certainly you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these. Well, Desmond sighed, I do not appreciate your neutrality. The giraffe wandered off, leaving Desmond alone again. So he tried shouting as loud as he could to wake the elephant, but those giant elephant ears at the way other end of that giant elephant body, they were just too far away. He tried pushing again, and he tried tugging on his tail, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again. So finally he was exhausted and out of breath, and he had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. This time it was a gazelle, and so he called out, "Oh, gazelle, it seems that an elephant has fallen asleep just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could just gently wake him up and ask him to roll over, well, even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." "I don't know about that," said the gazelle. "Surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." Well, the gazelle wandered off, and Desmond said, almost to himself this time, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." One last time, Desmond tried shouting with all of his little mouse voice. He tried pushing with all of his little mouse strength and tugging with all of his little mouse might. And he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again. Till finally he was exhausted and out of breath. And he had just about given up for the last time when he saw another animal pass by. This time it was another mouse. And when he called out, that mouse ran right over and introduced himself. He said, "My name is Nelson. What seems to be the problem?" Well, no sooner had Desmond explained the situation than Nelson ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and he shouted up to those giant elephant ears at the top of that giant elephant head. He said, "Excuse me. It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could roll over just a few inches in the other direction, he could go free." Well, the elephant heard Nelson's little mouse voice way down on the ground, but it was just a bit too quiet. It was a bit too far away. Between you and me, I think that elephant was a bit too comfortable. He didn't budge. So Nelson thought about this for a minute, and then he ran back to Desmond and he said, "Okay, I think I might have an idea. Stay right here, don't move." And he ran off into the grass, leaving a confused look on Desmond's face. And just when Desmond was starting to get worried again, he saw Nelson emerge back through the grass. But this time he wasn't alone. He had found 3 other mouse friends, and each of them, they had each done their job. They had each found another 3 friends as well. The whole group of them, they ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and one mouse, she climbed up on the shoulders of another, and another mouse climbed up on her shoulders, and so one by one, they made a whole mouse ladder all the way up the back of that giant elephant head. And then Nelson climbed up the shoulders of his friends one by one till he stood right at the opening of that giant elephant ear. And he shouted with all of his voice, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. Roll over just a few inches so he can get free." Well, this time, he was just too close and he was just too loud to ignore. And so the elephant said, but then he rolled over just a few inches in the other direction. Nelson and his friends climbed back down to the ground, and they met up with Desmond, who was free at last, and the whole group of them, they spent the rest of that day playing together at the edge of the meadow. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said that if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've already taken sides. You've taken sides with the powerful, and you've taken sides with the oppressor. And he said, if an elephant is standing on the tail of a mouse, the mouse will never appreciate your neutrality. Archbishop Tutu believed in a God who he said took sides. A God who himself took sides with the orphan and the widow and the oppressed everywhere. And as Unitarian Universalists, we may or may not share a belief in that same God. But we have covenanted to build a world of justice and equity and compassion. And that means imagining and working for a world very different than the one we see around us today. It means that we come together to do together in community what we could not do alone, to take sides for justice, to take sides for equity and compassion. And it means that we come together in congregations like this to side with love. May it be so, and may we make it so.
May this story unfold in your heart. So I invite you to go to your classes while we sing out Our Children.
We bless you on your journey through, from sheltering arms to the wide sky blue, in your joyful jumps and your sad times too. You bless us by being you.
Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
Breathe with me. Settle into your seat, your place made for you. Feel the earth hugging you into her. Alongside stories, people. Alongside words, the cries of babies and the coughs of elders. Alongside song, pauses. Pause with me. Spirit of life, God of many names, no name at all, and one abundant love. We are tired. We are fired up. And some of us are hungry. And some of us are a bit too comfortable. Help us to feel the bonds of connection. Help us to lift up in love all those who hunger for freedom and all those who hunger for simple food. Help us to lift up all those whose hunger in the pit of their stomach is grief or loneliness or addiction. knowing the ways in which we are all connected, all the ways in which the strings that move from heart to heart and person to person hold us. Help us to feel the courage and love of those around us, to be the spark that lifts up another, to be the community that works to build justice and equity and compassion. Help us to feel the sources of laughter and love in our life, to not turn away or shut down when things are hard. Help us to know that this cry is our cry. There is so much I do not want right now. And yet we continue together. May our chuckles fuel our love. May our laughter lift us up in song and work to build a world where none go hungry. Amen, and blessed be. Here in this community of great difference and great love, each of us brings a part of our life to this space every week. We come, some of us with grief on our heart, some with gratitude, some with growth, and many, those who make it a spiritual practice to name all three, come with all of these. We gather in community to witness to one another, to know that everything we carry, we do not carry alone. And so we enter into a ritual of community care. If you're joining us online, I invite you to share in the chat whatever it is that you are holding, whatever grief or growth or gratitude is alive within you. And if you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you to come forward to light a candle or to raise your hand and have a candle be brought to you by one of our ushers. I'll light our first candle today in honor of Juanita Steinman, longtime member of this congregation who died on Halloween. Her service will be held at 2:30 this coming Saturday, and she invites you to wear a Halloween costume, the color purple, or anything but black unless it is your favorite color. I will be coming in black. I invite you now to come forward to join in the witness of this community. May all these flames and those that burn silently in our hearts, for ourselves, for others, and for the world, be held in this community and by a love that will not abandon us. Amen.
Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Would you sing with us? Love has made a place for you where everything is new. One more time. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
All that our church is and all that our church does, all of our witness to suffering and to joy, all of our work for justice and abundance is made possible by the time, talent, and treasure that we each give to our shared mission. Members and friends support this congregation financially through recurring, regular giving, and on Sundays we also give through our shared collection. Now, on election weekend, it has been our tradition to share an election collection with the Susan B. Anthony House, and we will take that collection later this month. But we've bumped it a few weeks because we wanted to respond more immediately to the needs of those who rely on SNAP, given the president's illegal refusal to fund this program during the government shutdown. And so, in times of crisis, in times like these, what do? We turn to our friends, we look to our partners who are doing good work. And so our offering will be shared with our friends at the Community Outreach Center at Asbury First, whose services to those in need include hot meals, medical care, and many other essential goods and services. Over the last year, the number of people who need their services has risen dramatically, and of course it will rise even more this month. Right now, investing in programs of community support is an important part of resistance and resilience. And they will also be the recipient for the collection at the Interfaith Thanksgiving service, which this year will be held at Asbury First United Methodist. But this morning, for how to give, using Church Center is the easiest way to give. But if you aren't set up with our app yet, you can also give by texting "give" and the number that will be up on the screen, give and the amount you would like to give. Or you can give generously in the baskets that will be passed by our ushers. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, the offering will now be given and humbly received.
Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. Listen, people, we bring the power. La libertad es la única bandera. Liberty is the only flag. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza, la libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle, no human being can ever be illegal. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza, la libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle, no human being can ever be illegal. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle, no human being can ever be illegal. No human being can ever be illegal. No human being can ever be illegal.
A reading from the Enfleshed Ministries. Before the burning bush of this world, asking us to love all its holy, hurting ground, come with whatever seed of faith you can muster and listen. Listen for the voice of God thundering softly in your depths. Listen with your hunger, your hurt, your heart, and all its wisdom cultivated over time in the company of others. These are the soils from which God calls us to blossom and bloom, to bear fruit that nourishes and grow our future with care. This tending requires courage, but it is not a sacrifice. Just let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing.
Our next song was written by a powerful woman named Fea Ora Rose Toure. She's not only a singer-songwriter, but also a poet and a playwright. She also founded 12 different organizations working for civil rights and racial justice. And then, I guess in her free time, she had a day job, which was that she was the first black woman judge in Alabama. After she retired a few years ago, she was promptly arrested for civil disobedience, protesting the construction of a Confederate monument. So let's sing this song that puts love at the center, the song that offers me at least a seed of faith I can muster. It goes like this. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. Let's try that. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. My brother, I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. If I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, I will fall down. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. I'm gonna lift my sibling. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall. Last one. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale and set the song down gently. One time at band camp, well, it was drum camp specifically, when I was in high school, I walked into a common room where some of my fellow students, percussion students, were having a chat with one of our camp counselors who was sharing about his Christian faith. He told us about a theological question called Pascal's wager. Now, the thing to know about Pascal, for those of you unfamiliar, is that he was a theologian and he had the idea of this wager. That's what you need to know. What he said was, either God is real or not, and you either believe in him, and it was a him, or not. And so the smart thing to do is believe in God because you avoid the risk of hell if he is real. And if he isn't, well, then no one's going to hell or heaven anyway, so nothing gained, nothing lost. By believing, you have a chance at avoiding hell, and by not believing, you are risking a zillion years of suffering. Now, at the time, I was atheist, or at least I didn't quite believe in this kind of God, and the question didn't convince me to get there, but I secretly did struggle with it for years. I would often think of this wager and wonder if I was being unreasonable or irrational by not believing in God. The logic seemed so sound, and I didn't want to admit to others, I didn't even want to admit to myself that choosing atheism was the irrational choice. It was over a decade later, one evening, that I admitted my doubt out loud. In the kitchen, I was washing dishes with a housemate. We were chatting about theology, like you do. And I admitted my doubt in atheism. I shared the question that Pascal had asked us. And being able to finally name that doubt out loud opened up a conversation that we had that helped me talk through my complicated feelings about it. And it was in that conversation that I realized you could place this same wager on any religion or any idea of God. It was in this conversation that I finally was able to talk through it and realize that, well, you could place this same wager on any of 1,000 different versions of God, in 1,000 different belief systems. The choice was never only whether to believe in one kind of Christian God or not. And in this case, well, now the most strategic choice, the rational choice, in fact, would be to believe in whichever God threatens you with the worst violence for not believing. If every God says to you, I believe in me or else, the rational thing to do is to pick the God whose or else is the worst. That way you have the best chance at avoiding the scariest version of hell. Friends, perhaps it is needless to say, but this is no way to be religious. It is no way to run a life, for that matter. Any God who would treat heaven as a bribe for a faithful few is no God of love and is no God worthy of our praise. Our spiritual ancestors founded the Universalist tradition by proclaiming this exact heresy 200 years ago. I'll always remember, though, the moment in my 4th grade religion class at the private school I went to, when my teacher told us that the Bible, in fact, gave us a number. It said only 144,000 people would get into heaven. Not 144,000 at a time. We're talking all together. I was freaked out. And at the time, as a fourth grader, I responded by wanting more than anything to be good enough to make the cut. But now I look back and I realize I wouldn't actually want to be a member of a club that was so exclusive to so many. Unjust authorities all over the world maintain their power by offering privileges to pay off the loyalty of the few at the cost of the many. I would not take that bribe, not on earth and not in heaven. If you're in this sanctuary this morning, though, this is probably old news to you. Not many people even visit a Unitarian Universalist congregation without having already rejected at least the traditional idea of hell. But the story of an authority who would offer salvation to some at the cost of the many in exchange for a regime of fear and loyalty, this is also the story of white supremacy. It's the story of patriarchy. It's the story of every one of the isms, offering privileges to just a big enough group that they don't question the injustice of the larger system. One of the most vivid examples of this for me was the Flying Horses riot in Philadelphia in 1834. An organized white mob destroyed the homes of African Americans in their neighborhoods. The Irish immigrants who were living in those same neighborhoods were told to put a candle in their window on the night of the riot. The candle was a way to identify themselves as white. These Irish immigrants, my own cultural ancestors, who were entering the racial hierarchy of this new country, had to pick sides, white or not, safety or not. They faced this question, choosing between safety for themselves or dignity for all. Many of them put the candle in their window. They chose whiteness, and their homes were spared. Systems of injustice continue to offer the bribes of privilege to many of us, inviting us to put that candle in our window. Us white folks or able-bodied folks, us men or cis folks, perhaps most egregiously, those who literally inherit money from a time of even greater segregation. We are promised safety and comfort for the few as long as we put that candle in our window and close our eyes to the violence outside our doors. These systems perpetuate the lie that you can keep your family safe as long as you are silent about the violence down the street. Before I had admitted my doubt in atheism, I had struggled for so many years with Pascal's wager, not because I had the wrong answer, but because I was asking the wrong question. Friends, don't just doubt the religious answers that some people give you. Doubt the questions they're asking. Doubt the questions that are meant to frame things as a means of control. Doubt the questions if they don't begin with love. Doubt the questions that are meant to divide us, particularly the so-called saved from the unsaved. Now, you all are familiar with the major religious traditions around the world, but I want to tell you this morning about a religious tradition that is as old as any of them and as global as all of them. The ancient religious tradition of holy doubt. In fact, I want to tell you about 3 traditions of doubt. The first one goes back as far as Anaxagoras, whose name I've practiced saying all week long. He was the first person in history to be indicted for atheism in court in 467 BCE. His crime was that he had seen a meteorite fall to Earth, and when he saw that and found that glowing hot rock in a field, he theorized that maybe the stars and the planets in the heavens might actually just be fiery orbs of metal and rock, instead of gods traveling the skies. For this, he was convicted. One tradition of doubt is a tradition of people looking up to the heavens and wondering if they are not so different from the world we can grasp here on earth as it is in heaven. This first tradition gave us the scientific method. This first tradition is doubt in the unquestioned supremacy of tradition. It is belief in the possibility of learning and growth and change. It is belief in truth seeking. The second tradition of doubt is a tradition of people looking not up to the heavens, but across to each other. Learning from each other across cultures and traditions can wonderfully lead us to second-guess our old narrow assumptions. This tradition goes back at least as far as Xenophanes, who was also Greek, but traveled all around the ancient world. And the more he traveled, the more he noticed that the Greek gods seemed so, Greek. He eventually wondered and theorized that if horses could paint, they would probably paint gods that looked a lot like horses. This second tradition, this is the tradition of cross-cultural engagement that invites us to see the world from another's perspective. It is the basis of every movement for peace. It is doubt in the stories we may have once taken for granted. It is belief in the experience of those who are different from us. It is belief in diversity and equity and inclusion. The third tradition of holy doubt is the sacred tradition of questioning unearned and unjust authority. And for this last one, let's go directly to the Bible itself. As an adult, I've come back to the Bible not to take it literally, but to take it seriously. And I love that the religious tradition of holy doubt is alive and well in Scripture. Several times in the story of Exodus, God gets angry with the infidelity of the Israelites. He tells Moses, "Get out of the way, I'm going to destroy the whole lot of them." Moses over and over argues with God, doubting his decision, and he stands in the way, unmoved, standing against the genocide. First, Moses appeals to God's more loving nature, and it works. But sure enough, God loses his temper again a little while later, and this time Moses appeals to God's delicate ego and fragile masculinity. He says, "If you kill us, you know the Egyptians are going to hear about it, and everyone is going to gossip all over the land about how you weren't strong enough to bring us to freedom like you promised you would do." God agrees and repents for the evil he had sought to do. When we doubt the seemingly limitless power of violent authorities, when we resolve to stand strong as believers in love and in justice, peace is possible, and even God himself may repent for his violence, Scripture tells us. This third tradition is the tradition of justice. It is doubt in unearned authority, and it is belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. These are three traditions of holy doubt that I commend to you, beloveds. They are three traditions of faith and of conviction as well. Belief in the possibility of learning and change. The first tradition is a celebration of truth. Belief in the experience of those who are different from us in communication and peace. It is a celebration of thriving, beloved community. And the third is belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, a celebration of justice and equity. Our reading offered this invitation before the burning bush of this world, asking us to love all of its holy and hurting ground. Come with whatever seed of faith you can muster, and let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing. Beloveds, whatever your understanding of God or divine, we Unitarian Universalists have inherited these religious traditions of doubt and these traditions of faith, these traditions of courage, these traditions of shared flourishing. I invite you to join me in these traditions, living them faithfully, and join me in the tradition of those faithful to justice and peace and truth. May it be so. May we make it so. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Will you try that? Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Again. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Next part goes like this. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Let's try that. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. The words to this song come from the book of Ruth. Ruth is speaking with her mother-in-law, Naomi, after both of their husbands have passed away. Naomi is about to make a very long and very dangerous journey, one she knows she might not return from. Ruth has asked to travel with her. And Naomi says, you don't have to do that. We're not related by blood. You don't owe me anything. And Ruth says, no, your God is my God now. We're in covenant together. We are chosen family. As Unitarian Universalists, we may share a belief in that God or not, but we have covenanted to travel together. To travel together even when the journey is long, even when it is uncertain, even when it is risky. Let's sing in the spirit of that covenant together. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Again. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people, for your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Here we go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Here we go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go. For your people, are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. For your people, are my people. Your people are
where we go together, we go in community and commitment. If you were not here for Connection, please, you're invited to come early next week. But we usually don't do things after the second service, but we do have the renovation forum. So if you haven't attended one of those, you don't have a plan to, please stick around afterwards. Lunch is provided, so if you are hungry for more church this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, please join us for the renovation forum. And if you're willing and able before going there to help us stack the chairs, you can stack the chairs in stacks of 5, and you can leave the stacks where they are. Just make sure that they're in separate chairs with arms and chairs without arms. That's about the only kind of separating that we are going to be doing here at First Unitarian. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice as Chris extinguishes. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Beloveds, may you go forth with holy doubt. Go asking the questions that begin with love. Go bringing your faith in truth, your faith in peace, your faith in justice. Go and be blessed as you are each a blessing to others. Amen.